Good afternoon, my name is Per Fredriksen. I'm the owner and founder of the information company Right to Users from Denmark. I'm here to present the system Alchemy Catalyst 10 for localization of UI and documentation. So localizing UI and documentation in one tool is the title of my presentation, to show you how you can combine these two translation tasks in one tool. My agenda is the following. We'll start by presenting Alchemy Software development, which is located right here in Dublin. We will take a look at their product portfolio. And the flagship product is called Alchemy Catalyst, and it has several product editions which fulfill different demands at the development team and at the translators bureau. And my company, as I said, is Right to Users from Denmark. Alchemy Software has more than 25,000 Catalyst licenses sold worldwide now, so it has an enormous customer base, and we get a lot of very nice feature requests from all over the world, making the localization process smoother and smoother for software and hardware companies. 80% of the world's largest software companies use Alchemy products, and 75% of the world's largest localization service providers are using Alchemy products. So it's very, very widespread and well known in the industry, and one of the key players in the localization industry. The mission of Alchemy has always been fast, efficient, and consistent localization of UI, documentation, and websites. Alchemy is now a division of translations.com, which has an annual turnover of $250 million, which means for you as a customer that we have a very, very solid financial backing. You can rest assured that we are also in business in 10 or 20 years from now when you buy our system. The reference list includes many customers, and as you can see, some of them are very, very big, have very, very tough demands on our system. They need to run the localization process in an automated fashion, otherwise it will simply not be fast enough. So one thing is the graphical interface that we will see in my demonstration now, but the other side of the coin is that we have a black box, you can say, where we can make all sorts of scripts from the command line. So most customers are using build scripts during the night to make the localization builds and what they need. Right. Okay. So if we look at how we deploy the Alchemy products in an organization, then we have the possibility of using Alchemy Catalyst for UI and documentation translations. This is what we're going to see in a minute. So that's for the user interface, and for the user assistance products, and by that we mean documents like Word documents, PowerPoint documents, maybe InDesign documents from the marketing department, the website, which can be linked in through a database connection to Alchemy Publisher or Catalyst. So we can cover the whole thing. We can cover the software, the website, and all the marketing documents and the technical documentation, training material, etc. And then, of course, we have often a very global team of translators, and those translators can be anywhere in the world, and they will need some access to the Catalyst projects and to the Catalyst translation memory. And that memory and projects we can place in what we call Alchemy Language Exchange, which is basically a database out there in the cloud where we can upload our TTK projects from Catalyst. And the translator will be able to pull it down to his local version, work with it, translate, and then upload his work to the cloud. And then we, as localization managers, can pull it down again and import it into Catalyst and make all the scripts and all the necessary, validation and QA that we need after that. So that's the cloud-based Alchemy Language Exchange there at the bottom. Actually, we have one more product which is not shown here. We have what we call the online review and translation module today, just released with Catalyst 10, which allows you to do online review of translations in sort of a simple grid view where you can put in comments and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So Catalyst, the flagship product. This is what I'm going to show you today. We have 4 different product editions of Catalyst. We have Developer Pro, which is for the software development team, where you can do it all, and it also includes an SDK so that you can even do your own custom programming. And we got the localizer, which is used by the localization manager to simply, manage all the translations, statistics, leveraging of translation memory, validation, etc. All these key processes in the localization process. And then we have the Translator Pro. Translator Pro is used by the translator to translate the text in a visual environment, and it also includes the UI validation tools, which makes it a very complete tool. So that translator can see all the dialog boxes, he can translate them visually, and he can even validate them before returning them to the software vendor, which makes a big difference, of course, to just seeing it in a grid view. Now we have Translator Lite, which is a light version where you can simply translate the text in a table view, and it's free. Right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the application and look at how we do this. We're going to localize the UI of a software application. We're going to validate it, and we're going to export it back into the application and see that we have a translated version. Then we will make a leverage of an existing translation memory into a new version of the software. Okay. We will save those UI translations in a glossary so that we have them at our disposal, because this is approved terminology by now. The UI translations that we've done have been validated, QA'd. They are established in our company now, so we can actually put them into a glossary now. And that glossary will be very handy when we start translating our technical documentation. So when we put in a Madcap Flare project in Catalyst, then we can actually reuse all these glossary items. And finally, we will extract a localized Flare project and see how that looks inside Madcap Flare. All right. Right, on the screen we see a software application. It's called ITSS Master. It has been translated into Danish, but there's one dialog box that we're missing, and we want to translate that into Danish. So let's take a look at that. We'll go into this menu and we will take the options, which is called Instant Danish, and we can see the dialog box here. This particular dialog box we want to see inside Catalyst as a visual dialog box. Okay, so let's bring up Catalyst. We have a Catalyst project here called 70 UI and Flare. So this is a combination of UI and Flare projects. The application that we looked at is called ITSS Master. if we go into that application, which has been, inserted as an exe file, we have the forms here. So that's the dialog boxes. We can go into that particular branch. We can move down and we can find the options form right there. Okay, so here we are. This is the list view or the grid view where we can translate all these texts. So we can try that first. So if we take instelinga for master, for example, so that's the Danish translation. We have cancel, etc. And you can see here that we get a 100% hit here, which is annulere. So we can actually just double click here to get that translation into the translator's bar. And this could also be done automatically because this is approved translation of this term. And we can go on and we can just click on OK, etc. So that's all fine. If we want to see it visually, we can use the visual view instead. And this will give us a visual representation of the dialog box, which is nice. We can see our translation already. Let's do a little thing here. So we will take the annulere button here and change that to something else, which is too long. So we'll take regret bitterly. Now we can see that that text is far too long for the button up there. We have a problem. So what can we do? Well, we can of course have different validations saying that the text is not allowed to be that long, but we can actually, in Catalyst, we can change this with the what's called the layout manager. So we will change that particular dialog box, resize it so that these buttons will actually fit into the dialog box. And we have different options to allow the dialog resizing, etc. And we will do it. And we will click OK, and we will see the finished result, which looks like this. Fantastic. So the two buttons have been resized equally in this dialog box. Okay. So this dialog box is now translated. Well, not completely, but it's okay. We can live with that. So if I want to get a DLL containing this translation, I can actually do that right here in Catalyst now. I can go to the exe file, which is the English version, and I can right-click on it, and I can say I want to extract a file. And that file should be Danish. The original assembly is located, let's see, I just need to find it here. It's under Program 7T, IGSS 32, version 9, GSS. So that's the folder where we have all the languages. And in the DA folder, the Danish one, we have the Danish translations. So now I click OK, and it creates a language DLL for me. Okay, I need to close the application first. Let's do it again. Extract file, Danish, and it has created my satellite assembly, and it's ready for use. So if I start the IGSS application again, I will be able to see my new dialog box. Just have to wait a few seconds here. Yeah, I can go into the master options, and the only thing that has been translated now is indstillinger for module master, and we can see the new button which was actually resized here. So that's how it works. You can translate visually, you can validate visually, and you can build the DLL necessary for testing your language version. And at this this is so easy to do, and it's such a fast process for the translator and for the developer, really, which makes the localization process a lot smoother than what we're seeing somewhere in some companies out there in the industry. Okay, let's take a look at a few more validations before we move on. If we are inside Catalyst and we're looking at a dialog box, let's take the same one. We're looking at options form. So we could, if we go back here and we do, for example, a resizing here, making it smaller again, then we have different validations that we can make. The most important ones are actually listed right here. So we can test for clip text, we can test for duplicate hotkeys, and we can test for overlapping controls. Let's do the first one, test for clip text. Yes, we have some clip text here. So it gives me a list of results for that clip text validation, and I can go in and I can say, okay, the control name is cancel button here. So what's the problem? And it actually highlights the problem. So this makes, again, the validation process very interactive and very smooth for the localization manager. And this, of course, can be done at the Excel level, at the project level, at the dialog box level. So you can validate the whole thing in one big operation, you can say. Okay, we need to leverage the translation. Let's return this one to its original revert object. We can revert it back to its original size and text and all that. And then we want to leverage some translation memory from the previous version of this software. So this is version 9, and I have all the Danish translations for version 8. How can I leverage them into this application? Well, that's easy again, because you simply place the cursor on the exe file that you want translated. Sorry, I need to go to the other application at dashboard. Yeah, here it is. So the dashboard application, I have my translation defined here under active translation memory and machine translation. So this is my translation memory in the translation memory exchange format TMX. If I do a leverage now, on the dashboard application, I choose my translation memory source. I have different options. I can, for example, exclude the coordinates from the leverage, which is a good idea because maybe the dialog layout has been changed a little bit and we only want the text to be leveraged. We can use fuzzy matching if necessary, but here I will just do, the 100% match. Object types, I want all the different object types translated, dialog boxes, menus, etc. And I can also build a report from this, but I don't need that right now. I'll click OK, and I'll click OK again. And you can see again the results window over here gives us a number of results. We have, here it is, we have some that are untranslated, we have some that are partially translated. If we click on dashboard over here and go to the string view where we can see all the strings inside this application, then we can see that there were actually 799 words that were leveraged right into this new version of the software, and then we have all the untranslated items, 94 of them, and we can go through them and translate them one by one. Some of them will be, just strings. Here's one, one new one, and yeah, this particular one was not available in the visual view. Okay, so this is just to show you that you can actually leverage a lot of translations into to the next version of the software. Validations. The validation can be run, as I said before, on the entire exe file. And we can then run all the different experts in one go. We can inconsistent control characters, inconsistent variables, etc. So if the translator has messed them up, we can fix that. Lots and lots of things you can do here. Well-formed inline tags, maximum size check, if there are limitations on the size, clip text, overlapping controls, etc. Again, all the object types on the report, same as we saw before. And again, it will go through the whole thing, and it will give me a lot of feedback in the results window here, saying that, okay, we have some inconsistent translations, we have all sorts of mistakes here. And we can make it also compare the translations with the glossary that we have put into our system, and the glossary will be right here under terms. Okay, that's it. So that's it for the UI translations right now. Let's move on to Flare. But before we go into Flare, we can actually go into, let's say, the dashboard application here and say, okay, we have all the translations we did for the forms. All the translations we did for the form, they are right here. All the leveraged ones, 407. All these have been leveraged. These are approved. They are fine. How can we translate that into a glossary? So we'll just right-click on Forms. We will do Export Project, and we'll export it into a glossary. So that's a Catalyst glossary. You could also export it into an industry standard format like TMX, but here we do it as a glossary. And we say the output, the file name will be dashboard glossary. And we need to place it in a folder, Alchemy Software, UA 2012, and here's the dashboard glossary. What do you want to include? Yeah, I want to include the whole thing, so that gives me some extra contextual information that I can use in my translations, language, memo, the whole thing. What do I want to export? I want to export all the translated segments. I want to remove the hotkeys. They are not really relevant if I'm going to use it in other contexts. So that's fine. And I want to do that glossary. It's there. And I can now put it in as a term source in Catalyst. So I go to term source, I click plus. I click again to find it. Here it is. I'm right there in the right folder. And I put it in as a glossary, a source, term source. Right. Okay. So basically, if I'm clicking on one of these UI translations, we can see that it already works. It gives me the terms that I have chosen. Okay, let's move on to Flare. Now, I have a Flare project that I've put into to Catalyst, and we want to see how it works with the glossary lookup again in the dashboard project. So this is a Madcap Flare project. I'll show you after this how you insert a Flare project, but let's just move into it. It has a structure, it has some content, which is all HTML files. So if we move into one of these folders, we have this one, for example, containing a lot of text. But again, you can translate it in visual view. You don't need to be in the string view. You can go to the visual view. You have the entire HTML file here visually, so you can follow everything that we do here. So if we go in and we say dashboard 1, stationer in Danish, we can go and we can say etc. So we just move on like this. So again, it keeps coming up with these suggestions. Okay, so let's take one of them. Let's move on to the next one. Right. So, for example, as an example, we could say, okay, we want to translate yeah, here's a good one. We want to translate the name exit to Auslut, which is a Danish term. So we highlight the word here in the translation toolbar, and then we simply double-click here to put it in, right? Save, give, etc. And this can also all be automated, of course, because we have the possibility of doing this in an automatic fashion also. But I'm just showing you this graphically. All right. So that's one topic. Dashboard 1 pump station. We've translated that so we can see that afterwards. All HTML files. We got some special files also here. We got style sheet. So, and most people will say what the style sheet should not be translated. It's language neutral, but not in Flare, because you can actually make some changes here that require translation. For example, you can prefix with chapter, so that's what I've done here. So I want to put in kapitel, Danish word. Right, so that's perfect. And here, like that. Good. Okay, all done. We've translated the stuff we need in the style sheet. So let's move on to the other folder, which is called project. Because here we got XML files all over. And we got glossaries, we got the table of contents. Let's go to the table of contents. Here it is. This is my table of contents. It contains some contextual information, also like the TOC entry. So we might have some information there that we need for reference. But let's just translate the table of contents entries here. So these some some use notes in the show PDF, etc. We'll move through this. Forces. Just make a few translations. Most of the times. This is a word that should be in the glossary, so we can right-click on it and say Add Glossary Term. Okay, so image times is table of contents. Right. So it goes into what we call the supplementary glossary, which will supplement the other one we already had. Okay, so this is how we translate. We can also do a leveraging of the translation memory we had from the UI into the documentation, which would also give quite a number of hits. We could do that using fuzzy matching. And we would have to review the whole thing, of course, after that, but it would still give us quite a few hits there. Okay, that's it. So that's our localized Flare project. Let's try to pull it out of Catalyst now and into Flare. I'm finished. I want to see it in Flare. Right-click. I want to put it under right to users, Alchemy Software, UA 2012 presentation, and I want to make a new folder for that. Dashboard Danish Flare. Let's call that. Right, and it simply creates an entire Flare project. If I go to this folder, UA, here it is, Dashboard Danish Flare. And here we are inside the Madcap Flare project, which has been localized into Danish. We can see the first 3 entries up there that we translated inside Catalyst. And we can also go into the topic that we translated, namely Dashboard 1. When we come in here, we can see our translations, exercise 1, create a dashboard, etc. We can go further down in the topic and we can find save and exit translated into Danish. These were the words that we got from the Danish UI translation, turned into a glossary and then reused them in the Flare translation. We also translated parts of the style sheet in Flare. We can see the style sheet right here. It has a special prefix function that we can use. So for our heading 1s, we have put in a prefix called chapter, kapitel in Danish. And this we can see immediately inside Flare in the preview, as you may have noticed before. So here it is, chapter 1. Right, so that's it for the Flare Catalyst integration. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact me with the contact information that I display at the end of this video. I can always give you a live demo if you're interested in seeing 1 or 2 of these wonderful programs, Madcap Flare and Alchemy Catalyst. Thank you for your attention.